All right, everyone. Welcome to the RSP Film Room. This is RSP Film Room number 52. And today I'm actually dressed up somewhat for our guest.
Wow,
For a
throwing off the
change.
red carpet.
I mean, I'm even wearing a jacket. I mean,
Wow.
this is crazy. No hat, no nothing. So I'm actually here with Mr. Mark Schofield of Inside the Pylon. Been looking forward to having Mark on. He does excellent work at the Inside the Pylon site. A former quarterback. Mark does some just absolutely terrific breakdowns of players. And I would recommend very highly that if you are, into this stuff, and I'm sure you are if you're watching an hour of us, that you definitely need to check out what Mark is doing there. So, Mark, welcome. And
Thank you, sir.
yeah, absolutely.
I've
And
been looking forward to this. Looking forward to talk about football. Finally, we've got a game tomorrow too.
I know, right? I know this is good. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I know. I actually just took a hard drive, an external hard drive, and connected it to my DirecTV box so that I could,
I mean,
expand the memory.
right. The season is underway now.
I know that's right. Got to get ready.
Yeah.
So, Mark, tell everyone a little bit about your background, how you got into this, why you have the sickness, just like everyone else who's watching this.
Right. Well, I mean, I played the position for years. I started as a quarterback when I was 9, played all the way through college. Just a D3 kid at Wesleyan University, a NESCAT kid. Went the law school route, was working as a lawyer for 10 years and was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather write about football. So just started writing over at Inside the Pylon. We're going to turn 1 here in a couple of weeks. We've got a good group of guys writing about football. We do some special teams breakdowns with a guy that was a kicker in the Ivy League, Chuck Zotto. We've got a good little team putting stuff together, and it's just been fun to, like you said, we've got the sickness. We got the football sickness in all of us, and we love talking about the sport and breaking down plays, whether it's stuff on Sundays, stuff on Friday nights, any level we'll talk about it. We love talking about the game. So it's been a fun little ride here the past year. And now here I am in Matt Waldman's film room getting ready to break down a player. It's like, the meteoric rise from
I'm telling you. Well, you're about to keep rising way past me, I'm sure. So
I don't know about
fairly
that.
soon. But it's awesome, man. I mean, and anybody who, no offense to lawyers out there, because they're very well needed, and it's an unbelievable profession. But anyone who's a former lawyer who decides that they went and got all that training and decide that they want to do something else and pursue their passion in the middle of it, that you're quite okay by me. And I mean that if you were a doctor or you were any other profession, because it takes a lot to be able to say, you know what, I need to switch trains here.
Right.
And,
Well, it was one of those things where I found out, as a lawyer, I was a pretty good football fan. So the decision was pretty easy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So today, Carson Wentz is the gentleman we are going to be watching today out of North Dakota State. And, certainly Mark has written up some dynamic articles, 2 articles about Carson Wentz. Obviously you should check those out as well after you get a chance to watch this film room. But Mark, if you could just tell us a little bit about, I think 2 things I'd like to hear from you. One is, why you like Carson Wentz, or what you think about him overall, if you're, even if you're not quite sure. And also, what is it that you're looking for when you're scouting quarterbacks?
Right. Well, I mean, at the outset, I think with Carson, you get a kid who's got great size for the position. He's 6'6", 235. That's what he's listed at. So he's got the prototypical size for the quarterback position, but he's a great athlete, and that's going to kind of come out as we go through the tape here. That moves well in the pocket, can extend plays with his feet, keeps plays alive, always looking downfield when he's on the move, and throws well on the run. North Dakota State does a lot with him on the move, getting him out of the pocket with boot action. So he's an intriguing prospect from that point of view, that I think schematically there's a couple of places I already have in mind where he could possibly fit at the next level. In terms of what I look for, I'm a big footwork guy. I like to see how guys handle their feet in the pocket when they're on the move. If things get wild and they get pressure on their feet, can they throw well off their base? Can they keep plays alive? I mean, we see tremendous athletes playing this sport today, especially in the NFL, and there are going to come guys that are coming free, unblocked. You're going to need to things happen with your feet. So that's I'm a big footwork guy. So as we go through, you'll hear me talking about that a lot, I bet.
And that's great because it's always fun to be able to, you certainly, if you read anything about Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense, and certainly so many offenses are really just based on that as it is, the footwork is so important to time up with your routes. It's so important to be able to have a good base to be able to throw with accuracy. And it also just, your feet tend to be a reflection of your mind in a lot of ways. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk shop about this. And I'm looking forward to learning from Mark as we go through this. If you haven't seen the RSP film room, really what this is two guys watching tape of a player and talking about everything that under the sun, but trying to funnel it back to what we think about this player as an NFL prospect. So, we're going to slow down the tape. We're going to rewind things, watch maybe some small aspect of the tape several times, just like what we would do if we were watching it on our own and just studying a player. So that hopefully gives you, anybody who's a first timer out there and wanting to learn more about watching the game at a little bit of a deeper level, this is basically how you do it. So before we get started, I am going to read basically a disclaimer to let everyone know that that the videos posted here at the RSP film room are not hosted on the server, and the original video content's not considered property of the RSP film room. The videos are considered to be used under the fair use doctrine of the United States copyright law, Title 17 U.S. Code sections 107 through 118, and the videos are used on the site for educational and editorial purposes only, and the RSP film room and its staff do not claim ownership of any original video content. Draft Breakdown and its staff, and I just said Draft Breakdown. I always read it off Draft Breakdown because they do this well as well.
Right, they do great.
Yeah, so the RSP film room and its staff, and I'm sure Draft Breakdown too, they don't use these video clips in advertisements, marketing, or for direct financial gain. And all video content in each clip is considered owned by the individual broadcast companies. So as long as I'm not the stuttering lawyer in My Cousin Vinny, I think we are going to be okay to get started.
I was worried as some sort of lawyer hazing. You're going to make me read that. And
man, see, I just missed out on the opportunity. Man, it's over now. Okay. That's awesome. All right. So let me go ahead and we're going to pull up Carson Wentz and make sure that this can be heard by everyone. And we've got some really fun music going along with this too, at least in my headphones. So it's going to be awesome. All right. And we can see Carson Wentz instead of my mug now at this point, so that's good. All right. We can keep my face for radio. Let's see, and move this thing on down. It looks like we're gonna get started about here. All right. So this is the championship game.
That it is.
All right. And you just let me know if we need to go slower for the screen resolution, or we can keep it at the speed that we got. And right off the bat,
right off the bat, you see first, he starts his play under center, and you're going to see him under center a lot. They do a lot with 12 personnel, 22 personnel, so he's under center a lot. But here, it looks to be, 4 vertical concept, a 5-step drop, and he gets pressure off the edge. So he's got to, get out and move right away. So you see that athletic ability come through off the start.
Yeah. And one of the things that at least it looks like now already on a repeated basis, I got to see his first game, his first start at Iowa State, and you can see, he bounces off people. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. And you'll see later in this game, but there are pros and cons to that. He does break tackles. He's not afraid of contact when he's running, but that's a double-edged sword for a QB.
Absolutely. You don't have the CEO running the machines down in the plant.
Yeah, and see, that's another play. He starts that play off again under center with a play action and then boot action with a receiver coming underneath at the line of scrimmage.
And when you talk about what's that?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say,
go ahead.
when you see when you see that the quarterback is able to work under center at this stage, and also you see the movement, the boot action, play action like this, what does that indicate to you, when you're thinking about the NFL at this stage?
Well, I mean, at the outset, it's given his familiarity with that, the fact that he can do that, that the coaches won't have to take time working him through that, getting him introduced to it. I mean, one of the things that you'll notice, it's tough to see on this angle right now, but when he starts under center, he's got perfect snap posture. He's got that left foot staggered away just a little bit, kind of a cheat step action that will help him gain depth on drops. It'll help him extract from the line of scrimmage and the traffic up front, whether the center has to make a reach block or guards are pulling in front. So, the technique and the fundamentals are there. So coaches can already move past that. Like, Marcus Mariota, 5 snaps last year under center. So, Tennessee has to take a little bit of time to get him comfortable with that as they move him into their offense and what they want to do. So it gives, if his coaches at the next level, if he does make that jump, this is one thing that they can, touch on and move on. And then it opens up the playbook. I mean, here you've got something that, this is something that looks right out of Gary Kubiak's system. You've got boot action. You got, an underneath crossing route, guys on the outside running deeper routes. I mean, this is, right out of a Gary Kubiak playbook. You can see that kind of scheme fit as, sitting here.
I love that. And I love how you talk about that, because it's a very underrated thing. And it really does connect so well with, it's not just that whether they can run, whether he can do these fundamental things. We go, oh, well, it's just a fundamental, but you don't think about how the fundamental connects to, look, this misdirection play, it may look like not much because you're only throwing the ball 5 yards, 5 to 10 yards downfield from your throwing point. But this is this is the extension of the run game. This should be easy, and it's an easy 8-9 yards.
Right. And that's, 8-9 yards on first down. It sets you up 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1, and again, now you've got what looks to be, 21, 22 personnel on the field for the next play. Got the playbook wide open, 2nd and 1. What's a better down and distance for an offense than 2nd and 1?
Yeah. No, that's great. And it's low risk. And when you can get easy yards, low risk, because your quarterback is fundamentally sound, you're winning.
Right. And it opens up the playbook.
Yes. And that's a nice play fake right there.
Right. I mean, that's what you want from your quarterback. And then, again, the athletic ability, moving in the pocket.
I've really loved how he moves in the pocket. You want to talk a little bit about why, whether you like his movement as well and why?
No, I do. I think it's perfect here. I mean, obviously, again, under center, nice play fake, sells the play fake well. You get edge pressure. He climbs the pocket beautifully here. I mean, moves up, and then the vision here to see he's got daylight to the outside. I mean, that's just perfect. I mean, and it takes pressure off the offense because you got a quarterback that can move in the pocket that well, that can evade pressure, still keeping the eyes downfield. He's looking, he's scanning. Now he knows, okay, I got to tuck it and go.
Yeah. And and one of the things I love, Mark, is one of the things that really notable to me is, I mean, it seems like all the quarterbacks that you watch who are good pro quarterbacks in these scenarios, the movements that they make in the pocket, the best ones, it's very small, incremental steps.
Right. I mean, two or three of the best at doing that: Brady, Locke, Rodgers. It's all like small, choppy, quick, short steps in the pocket. You don't want to run around there wildly. Under control, eyes downfield. Now he's got that sideline to him. Got the sticks on the outside. He knows he's got the first down.
Yeah, and in contrast, you'll see guys like who are more runners than they are pocket passers, and this movement here takes years for them to develop, if at all. Right. And the first move you tend to see is something like this, where they it's just like their eyes go down, and you'll see their eyes go down. They make the wide step, they get outside the pocket, but then they try to look for a receiver downfield, because that's what they think they're supposed to do, but they've already kind of given up the ghost.
And that's kind of what you were talking about earlier, how the footwork and the mind kind of match up. The feet get going, they think run, then they think, wait, I should be throwing, and it's just all over the place. But, here it's under control. And right there, you'd see A lot of quarterbacks would probably try to bounce that to the right side. He's still looking downfield for one last moment, and he decides, okay, I got to tuck in and go. But you see right there, I see guys exit the pocket the other way. They'd see this traffic and then come.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a great point. And you can see again, I mean, he doesn't mind sticking his nose in there, but he gets the pads low.
Yeah, he gets the pads low, but the ball squeaks out here at the end.
Yeah.
And we'll see a little bit later. This comes back to bite him.
Yep.
Luckily, he squeaks out of bounds, or maybe it doesn't.
I don't know. Let's take a look. He finally does get a little bit under control there.
No, he's
all right.
Yeah, 3-step, and looks like it just got knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this is 3-step, 5-step, 7-step concepts. He's got that in his bag. It's a club he's got.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right away why I love his pocket presence, and it's just little things. You mentioned the little steps, and you mentioned Luck, Brady, Rodgers, even Wilson does this, and it's the whole idea of waiting till the last second to make your move. Let the defender get within a step or two of you before you actually move away, so you don't tip off where you're going.
Right. Yeah. No, he does a great job there, ducking from pressure and turning negative yardage into a big run.
Wow.
But then that happens. Yeah. I'm reminded of that movie, The Program, with James Caan, the head coach of a college football team, and Omar Epps, the running back, and Omar Epps is the freshman running back. He comes in, he's in preseason camp, he makes a great run in training camp, but fumbles it. James Caan looks at him, he's like, that was a heck of a run you just made. Imagine how better it would have been if we still had the football. But I mean, up until that point, it was a great run. Gets out. He's an athletic kid, but sometimes he's almost too excited to truck people, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, in the Iowa State game, I watched him hurdle a player.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then get kind of feisty when he got hit a little bit hard at the end of the play. Yeah. So yeah, he's competitive toughness comes to mind when you watch him, though. I mean, he's definitely a tough kid, wants to win, will do what it takes. Obviously, if he's going to run people over in the open field, he's a guy that's, excited to win, excited to see what he can do for his team. So, and that's a positive. How can that not be, And
that's a great thing.
I'd rather temper back recklessness than to encourage aggressiveness.
Right, because, it's a lot easier to tamper down somebody than it is to teach somebody to be aggressive. And I can tell you that from experience. I was the other end of the scale. I was a quarterback that, didn't really extend myself outside of the system. I had to be prodded to be aggressive. And it's a tougher adjustment for a quarterback to make at any level, I think. I haven't been through that. So, this is something the coaches, I think, can easily work with and, rein them back in a little bit.
That's great. That's great. All right, so let's see what we have. Quick throw.
Quick throw. I mean, footwork's pretty solid. It looks to take a real wide step there. I mean, he's pretty solid mechanically, good, shoulder turn, good torque in the upper body. Footwork's fairly solid on most throws.
Talk about the wide step, because I did notice a lot of wide step throws with him when he tends to be where if he has time in the pocket, he can kind of get those frozen feet where the feet stay wide, and he's like standing in there watching, and he forgets to move his feet, and then he throws from that wide base.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot. You saw that in the Iowa State game too. He took a shot early in that game, and then it looked as if he you see it right there where those feet are really wide. It's almost as if he's, trying too hard to match up the footwork with the timing. And so that last reach step that he takes on that drop there, it's, almost wider than it really needs to be. And then really opens up that front left hip on that throw. So it's not only wide, it looks like it almost looks like that front left foot comes out almost not even towards the target. It looks like it's angled just a little bit towards the middle of the field again.
And so what does that do? What does that often do either for accuracy or velocity on a ball?
Well, I mean, in terms of accuracy does tend to dip when you flail open just a little bit, even just the tiniest bit. You'll open up the shoulder and the arm a little bit more, so you can't really put the ball where it needs to be. It hurts ball placement a little bit, and velocity does tend to dip a little bit as well when you're not really driving through and finishing, straight on a straight line from back foot through front foot through that front shoulder towards the target. Because you want to generate everything going right at the target. You don't want to, if you've got body parts going in different ways, it all kind of slows the entire throwing process down.
What do you think about his release in terms of the length of it? Is it sometimes it seems like the ball's a little far, but I don't want to say it's too far because I've certainly seen guys who've had longer releases in terms of when the ball comes out, and it only depends on certain throws.
Right. I mean, I think for the most part, he's got a fairly good wind up and release. There's not a big dip and loop to it or anything like that. It's not the fastest release that I've ever seen. But for the most, it's solid, I'd say.
Yeah, and can you talk to people about, because you always hear, when you hear criticisms about a player who really failed, they talk about how slow or elongated the release is, but people can get a little bit overboard. It's kind of like when they talk about hand size,
right,
for a quarterback on some level, or they look at the Wonderlic and they start fixating on one number.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking milliseconds of difference between what some people might consider a fast release to an average release, and there are obviously ways that you can make up for that. I mean, pure arm strength and zip and arm talent can make up for it. You can throw with anticipation, and that's something that he does fairly well. So I think when you get down to that point, you're really kind of splitting hairs in a way. I mean, you obviously don't want Tim Tebow like a catapult or a trebuchet back there with that big windup. You don't want that. But I mean, with Carson, I think we've got a fairly solid release that's definitely workable and can translate well, I think, to the next level.
Yeah, and I think and I love that common sense approach, because it's really about, it seems to me like if you're going to approach it from a from a data perspective in some ways, or try and look at things and isolate one area, I think it's always wise that if you're looking at that one area and you pinpoint something that may look problematic to you based on it's outside the prototype, is to be able to ask yourself the question, but does he have other qualities that complement that issue and make up for it, or compensate that issue and make up for it? And if the answer is yes, then you just don't worry about it.
Right. And, it's one component of the entire, snap to finish that you look at with any player. I mean, take another example in terms of, just pure arm strength. A guy might be able to throw the football through a brick wall, but if he can't make reads, if he can't anticipate throws, if he can't throw receivers open, well, then what good is it? So you've got to look at the totality of the quarterback and not just focus on minor little things here and there. And, sometimes when you spend, like we do, 12 months looking at these guys, you might get focused on things and lose track of the bigger picture.
Yes, that's an absolutely great point. And it's easy to do that. And it's easy to lose track of certain things. And because you see so many, it's really both sides of the same coin. I mean, I can think of players that I really loved for certain reasons, and then fatal flaws were there that I just missed,
Right. Yeah. It happens to all of us.
Yeah. So let's look at a little patience here on this.
Yeah, this is nice. That was a nice job there. He was looking to hit the underneath crossing route. You'll see.
Yep. Coming right over here.
Yeah, he's looking there, comes off of that, and pulls it back to the deeper dig route from his other tight end right there. Yeah.
And I like the timing with it. I mean, I know that in the NFL, the timing might be a lot shorter, but still, you can tell he's reading the defense well. He knows where the safety is, and that means he knows where the safety won't be.
Right.
When he looks down here, he's like, okay, if this is covered all here, I know that I'm going to get this backside.
Yep. And that's a nice little concept there too, because it looked like they had cover 6, sort of, quarter half on that play with the press corner at the bottom of the screen. You've got, kind of a short dig route and a deeper dig route. one's going to get sucked up by the linebackers, and the other will probably find that soft spot behind the linebackers and in front of that, half field safety. And that's exactly what he finds.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, here, right there, you get a good look at that left foot of his pre-snap where it's staggered back. That gives him, he can clear the line of scrimmage, he can clear, center guard action up front, and he gets a little bit of a deeper drop on that play as well, if he's taking a straight drop. But that's just kind of what I was talking about earlier.
That was great. I'm glad you point that out. And it is. Look at that nice long step. And that's actually just a one step and throw.
Yeah, one step and throw and quick hitch route. Easy 4 or 5 yards on first down. And that's nice there too, because you get a corner blitz. I don't know I think the wide receiver they do a really good job here reading this, because I think the wide receiver is going to run a deeper route here, corner blitzes, and he just throttles down.
Yeah, you can even see him kind of looking in, like, are you gonna hit me?
Yeah.
Or am I gonna keep going?
So that's a nice little adjustment. You want to be able to see a guy that can, make a hot throw when he has to.
Now, can we back up here and talk a little bit about adjustments? Because I think a lot of people in our audience would be interested in knowing how adjustments really work. Because I think some people I've had some people write me and go, well, do they, is there some sort of signal that goes on with that? Or is it that they're reading the defense and they have a set number of routes that they know that they run with this concept based on the location of the defenders?
Yeah, and the easy answer to that is usually it's both. I mean, in a play like this, you might have a situation where, say, this receiver down at the bottom of the screen here is going to run a deep curl route. You might adjust that to a 9 route or a go route in the face of press coverage. That might be a pre-snap, predetermined read, both made by the receiver, and that's built into the offense. We had that at Wesleyan where if you were going to be running a curl route or an out route and you saw press coverage, you automatically, in your mind, it gets adjusted to a 9 route or go route to beat press coverage. Sometimes it is where there's a signal, where there's, a side adjustment or a pause adjustment. Like if you've got a slot formation and the slot receiver's uncovered, quarterback and wide receiver just kind of give each other a signal. I'm uncovered, pause in the cadence or something to signal to everybody that this is what you're going to do. Nudge the center, snap, one step smoke route to an uncovered receiver. So it really is both. And in this situation, I think what you've got is they're taught, you're going to be running a deeper route, but if you see the corner blitz, throttle down, make yourself available, and quarterback hopefully finds you and gets the ball out.
Great explanation.
I think that's what we got here.
And how, communication wise, when you see this type of communication, how much of it is something that when you look at, say you watch 4 or 5 games of a quarterback, how much of the time, if you were to give a ballpark, would you want to grade a guy and say he's consistent at being able to make these side adjustments? Would you say 50% is good? Would you say 60% is good? Would you say, does it depend a lot on the difficulty of the side adjustment to you? What are some of the things you think about there?
We kind of touched on this earlier. Is if you've got, like in this situation, look at this pre-snap alignment. You've got receiver down at the bottom of the screen. He's basically doesn't really have a guy over him. He's got, a guy 10 yards off the ball from him. If you can just take the snap and give him a one-step smoke route, stop route right there, why complicate the game? You've got an easy 10 yards of cushion right there.
Yeah, on a second and 3. Yeah.
On second and 3. Just take what you can get. Get the ball to a playmaker with room to run and make a play and make a guy miss. In terms of percentage, I'd like to see, 67% of these opportunities being taken advantage of, because you keep the chains moving, you simplify the game, you don't tax yourself too much. Why turn down an opportunity? They're giving you, a free 5 yards right here with room to make a move. If you can get the ball to the playmaker quickly, he makes that guy miss. You might take this all the way. So why complicate the game? So I'd like to see quarterbacks and offenses do that. I'd like to see teams do more of that, especially at the collegiate level, because again, why make it harder on yourselves?
That's a great point. And so you're saying too that there are some offensive systems and coaches that are just that they'd rather just say, just stick exactly to what I'm asking you to do. If you see the opportunity, don't
Right.
make the adjustment unless I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I think that's why the evaluation of a quarterback can be complicated, because unless you know how that offensive philosophy is, you
Right.
don't know what they're giving
Yeah.
room to do.
Yeah, it's one of the toughest things I think in terms of evaluating quarterbacks, because I love to sit here and tell you, okay, on this play, his reads are this, 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 and this, and I don't have the playbook. We're not going to get our hands on that, so I can't. I can make my best guess as to, oh, okay, he was going to read the 8 route to the 6 route to the check down, but that's just an educated guess. So
Yeah. But again, I love, you see that he makes 3 reads on this particular play. Once I
yeah,
get back to it again, let's get past this one again. But this is consistent, and you see it with the feet. The patience
yep,
is there. I mean,
yep,
look at the feet, and you've got a nice position there. He's looking at this. I believe he's looking at the cross first here.
yeah,
He looks over. I think he went to the second man
yep,
further down here, and then he does a nice job sliding out and getting his outlet man.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a nice job of, like you said, he's working through 3 different reads. He's got the underneath route, and I think he's looking at a deeper route, probably a 7 route at the top of the screen, or maybe,
Yeah, I think that's where he's looking, this
yeah,
guy breaking in here.
yeah. And then he has to slide again to avoid pressure, but adjust the arm angle there as he needs to. It's not no, the typical over the top release that he has. He slides it down a little bit, get the ball out, get the ball out to the running back and make a play.
Yeah, and he's very fluid at being able to make plays off structure.
Yeah, yeah. You like to see that, because most plays don't go the way they're called. Something gets thrown at you that you haven't seen, or somebody gets bumped off a route and you haven't seen it. So you got to be able to kind of adapt yourself on the fly. Now
Yeah.
this, I think I wrote down "oi" when I saw this play the first time. I mean, you're trailing by 7, but you drive in, and then you can't have lapse in concentration like that. I mean,
Yeah. And this is actually the second game I've seen, and
yeah,
it may just be coincidence and not a trend, but it's the second game that I saw where he had some issues with the snap.
yeah.
This
No,
one
he
was
did
from
it
the
in the Iowa
gun.
State game too. Yeah, yeah. In the Iowa State game, he fumbled the snap from under center too.
Yeah, and he lost that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's a minor thing, but you don't like to see that.
Yeah, and and it's just one of those things that you keep note of, and you see if
Right.
it's a consistent thing.
Right.
But see, then there are things that ooh, then there are
Yeah.
things that I
Then
like.
there's that. Then there's that.
But see, it's funny because you look at this, and this is maybe me projecting too much, but I was thinking, so what does he do after he loses
Yeah.
that
Well,
snap?
that's just it. You want to see how a guy's going to respond after a mistake. And here, it's almost as if it's like he's in quicksand. I have a guide inside the Pylon, Dave McCullough, our editor-in-chief. He loves that scene in that movie, The Replacements, when Keanu Reeves, the old quarterback, talks about quicksand. You've made a mistake and you want to fight your way back. And here, it's almost like he's trying too hard to make a play happen after the last play.
I love that analogy.
And
That's a great
everything goes.
analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see, I mean, he sees the cross coming fairly quick, but
Yeah.
I think he feels that pressure so quickly here that even though he probably could have hit it.
Yeah. And even just that, it's early in the game. You're down 7. You're in field goal range. Take the easy throw and take 3 points and live on to fight another day. Don't complicate matters, and that's what he does here. Probably, maybe. Don't want to get too deep into the psychology field here tonight. It's late for everybody, but maybe he's trying to make a little bit too much happen. Yeah, why not? Let's go down that road.
I like going down that road. It's fun because it's like we don't know for sure, but yeah, I mean,
But this is what we'll say.
yeah, I mean, also it's easier when you're, I mean, this is the benefit of getting older is that you can
Right.
always try and
Wiser with our years.
yeah, you can think about the things that you used to do, which is I think to myself, okay, I just screwed up. I don't want to just settle for this, this teeny, 3-yard completion on 3rd and 14 in the red zone here after I just screwed up the snap here. No. Let me buy some more time. I know I can do something here.
Yeah, I mean, the worst interception I threw in college was when I was trying to do something in a situation on the goal line, and it's because I had been struggling with that, and I really wanted to make a play when I could have just eaten it, taken the sack, 3 more points, and we lived to fight another day. And I got myself stapled to the bench after that one. So
It happens. It happens,
yeah,
but what's nice is, I mean, again, you see these base skills. It's,
right,
you see the base skills here. It's just minus the maturity
right,
on one level, but it's a point that you can see him being able to extend plays. It's
yeah.
just, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, he does that very well. He's a player that can, if there are protection breakdowns up front, he's got the physical ability, athleticism to keep plays alive with his feet. He's always looking. I mean, we see it, even though this is an adverse play in the end. He's looking to keep the play alive and continually trying to make a play for his team.
Yeah.
This is a nice throw.
Yeah.
This is a nice throw.
Let's look at that again.
Yeah.
I just love the extension of the ball.
Yeah. Great play fake. And here I think he's trying to hit that fullback, but that fullback's covered well. So he's got that deep comeback route on the outside, that 5 route. And this is just great. A great throw on the run.
Yeah, tight coverage and everything. Yeah. Well timed.
Yeah, it's timed up well. The ball placement, I mean,
can't get better than that.
Yeah, outside shoulder. I mean, that's exactly where you want to put it.
Okay, so, one more time, because that was just pretty.
That's for Coach Kubiak, who's watching right now. There you go.
Coach, you need to get Joe Don Duncan in there. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go.
I like James Casey, but we're going to give a little love to Joe Don. I'm sure in a couple years that may happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's just savvy.
That's This
Go ahead.
Nice play. No, I mean, this is just, keeping the play alive in the scramble drill here. It's just a great effort. It's a 0 blitz situation, I think, and he extends it, breaks not 1 but 2 tackles in the backfield, and then the vision to find.
This is what I love.
Yeah.
Right here. It's just the late move. He knows it's coming. He's unafraid, doesn't overreact. That little duck after flashing the ball.
Yeah.
That's just, I love that.
Yeah, and a lot of young quarterbacks, when faced with that, they'd probably drop deeper or try to get outside into the right. But he, like you said, that shows the ball, ducks under it.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is stuff you'd see Russell Wilson do when he was at NC State and Wisconsin. You'd see Ryan Tannehill do it at Texas A&M on occasion. Yeah. Those are things that I don't know if you'd say those are things you can't teach, but those are things that were either taught well very young and he learned them very well.
Yeah. I think that's a situation where you've got a kid that learned at a young age what he could do. And, that's, when you're in that situation, it's muscle memory that takes over. And that's him. I mean, we're seeing Carson Wentz when he was 12 or 13 years old on that play. And that's something he was doing when he was a kid playing Pop Warner. And because he's been doing it, muscle memory takes over.
I love it. And the way he adjusts his feet, even after getting through trash like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's a good job too by the receivers there as this play breaks down. They do a good job in the scramble drill. One breaks vertical and the other breaks to the sideline.
Yeah, we're going to get to see it here a little bit.
And then both outside defenders collapse on that guy breaking to the out.
Yeah. And this is, to me, I watch this and I think about who this guy is. I mean, right now we can check off some boxes and say he's aggressive at the point of sometimes being reckless, but reckless in a I can try and extend the play longer way, which to me I like.
Yeah.
you've got I can play from the shotgun. I can play from under center. I've got precise enough footwork to get through the pocket and maneuver, and I'm not and tight pockets, people around me, dealing with contact and bodies doesn't bother me at all. I mean, that's right there to me. Those are things that you usually say, I don't know if he can be in the NFL if he can't do those things.
Right. I mean, those are things that you need playing on Sundays and Monday nights. Again, that right there is a nice example of what we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Off coverage. The corner off coverage. Just, I mean, I'd like a better throw here because the receiver has to crouch there. A little better ball placement might be more yardage, but
that's good stuff.
A little jet sweep action, and he keeps it. And that's another thing that he can bring to an offense is he's got the athletic ability to do things in the inside zone game and the option game that for a kid of his size, it's a nice little thing to have.
Do you see him as someone? I mean, he's certainly not a Colin Kaepernick in terms of that size and all that, but I mean, who's a guy you would think about? I mean, would you think pre-injury Carson Palmer and the ability to move a little better than that, or?
Yeah, maybe a pre-injury Carson Palmer with a little bit more athletic ability to him, but that might be a good comp for him.
Okay. I'm just thinking from the athleticism standpoint.
Yeah, from an athletics, that makes standpoint. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as like a Cam Newton or anything, but he's an athletic kid with good size.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was an athletic kid with good size. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
At one time.
But then, it happens to us all, man.
Hey, look, I'm a couple pancakes shy of Frank Gore's weight, and I don't have any of the proportion of Frank Gore. I should probably be an Isaac Bruce. So, there you have it.
You look great in that jacket, though. I'll say that.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Oh, this one, you could tell that this is something they had dialed up for this game. And look, this is a little throwback action here where they try to get everybody flowing to one side and throw back, and it was covered well.
Yeah, and red zones. I mean, I think that's a good point to talk about too, is because I would think from at least my reading and talking with people, red zone plays. There's so much time put into red zone plays in practice and opportunities, especially when you're scouting teams, because everything changes at that point, and these are so critical.
Right. Yeah, see, this is a design throwback the entire way. I mean, if you run that through again, he's got, two out routes coming to the right side, and the shorter one looks like it might even, something might even be there. See.
Yeah.
But he's already coming back because it's predetermined it's going to be a throwback, but Illinois State covers it well.
And you can see how this would be, why in theory this is such a great play, because you saw the rollouts earlier where they're going to the right side. And so to be able to set that up and have the defense think, oh yeah, we've got to cover this.
Yeah. And it's a good call, conceptually in the red zone, because guys are so, focused on everything that's in front of them from the run fake and then moving. You anticipate that the defense would be scrambling to get back into position, that they'd lose track of the guy working backside.
Yeah.
But no, the Illinois State does a good job here. Those two defenders stayed home really well.
Absolutely.
But he made up for it.
Yeah. And he saw him all the way, and he didn't try to zip it too hard in there.
No, and this is another nicely designed play, because the way they get this little skinny post route open.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they've got the the wing dual tight end, do wing tight end there, and you've got a slot formation to the right side of the field. So, looking at the coverage, you've got that one. Yeah, that guy right there on the hash mark. He's more concerned about that slot to the side than the two tight ends. So then you get one guy runs a short, really quick end dig cut. The other guy works the post backside two linebackers converge on the first guy, and look at that throwing window. It's just a nice little design.
Yeah. Now, in something like this, where he's looking at it all the way here, I mean, when are situations where you look at something like this and say he's staring down a guy and that's not good, to as opposed to he's being patient and waiting for a window on a play that he knows is should create a great window?
Right. I mean, I think this is kind of an example of the latter, because he looks at that pre-snap, he knows what the routes are going to be, and he sees that other safety already on the hash mark slotted to their slots out of the field. So he knows that his best option, he's probably reading that, to the two tight end side all the way, and he just knows that, okay, once I see these two linebackers converge on that shorter route, I've got this guy on the skinny post route all the way. And that's what he's reading. I mean, so in this case, I wouldn't say this is an example of a guy staring him down. It's a guy that knows the coverage, knows where, the throwing window is going to be, and just reads it well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a great way that you explained it here about the coverage and what you see and what he's going to see and why he's going to react the way he is. He's just waiting for these two linebackers to get crossed up here.
Yeah.
These two defenders here at the hash. And once that happens, it's like, boom.
Yeah. No, it's just a nicely designed play, and he executes incredibly well. Ref even got out of the way for him too.
Man, look at that.
Yeah. And again, it's an example of just simplifying it and making it easy. He knows where the throw window is going to be, and he just delivers it.
He nearly gets out of that.
Yeah, almost got out of that one. I mean, you talk about play strength in terms of looking at a guy from a trait-based analysis, and he's a strong kid with athleticism.
And see, even this little thing I like. When he feels the pressure, when he actually feels it, his first reaction isn't to try and move back. It was actually to try and move forward.
Yeah. And, climbing the pocket, it's one of the hardest things for a young quarterback to learn, because it goes against, when one of the two books Joe Montana wrote about playing the position, he put it really well. He said it's basically the hardest thing. It goes against everything you think of as a human being, because you bring yourself closer to the danger. But that's what he wanted to do here.
Yeah. Yeah, I like his, I don't want to call it instincts necessarily, but I do like what I see here in terms of his traits, is just what he does, without even, I got to say instincts, because that's really what they are.
Yeah.
That's a nice throw too.
Yeah, that was a good throw there. Again, the deep comeback route.
Look how quick the feet are when it's time. I mean, that's the one thing I really like too, is you just see, even, he gets the more of a narrow base, but watch how quick he just kind of flips it and turns.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a really good example there. And the snap, the drop, the gather and throw. It's.
Do one more time here.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, it's the gather, the bounce and throw. It's just completely fluid from that last deep step to the point of release.
Yeah.
All working towards the target, throw to the outside. Now, it's 3rd and 14, and that was short of the stick, so.
Yeah.
But. Now, this one. Yeah, here we go. That poor left tackle, man. He's just thinking, oh, this is my moment. This is it, baby. Here we go.
Well, at least he broke one tackle.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like those old gong shows that we used to, for football.
Yeah. Oh, somewhere though, John Harbaugh was on a field screaming about it. So
that's true. Could he be Chuck Barris? I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, this was just send pressure. Everything breaks down. It looks like they were trying to set up a screen, but
yeah,
everything just kind of fell apart there. Yeah. Got to at least keep it in the field of play.
I like the look off.
Yeah.
To set up.
I mean, in terms of a snap to finish kind of look at this play, everything's good till the throw.
Yeah, and that happens, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes very hard to like be on one side of the hash and make what's a touch throw, but also
Yeah,
a
a
power
touch throw.
throw.
Yeah, that's a tough throw to make, and that's a really good point.
Yeah, because I mean, look at this. He's
The
opposite
distance.
hash. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sideline.
You were.
No, I mean, as you're saying, it's got to carry some distance, but there's got to be touch on it. You got to try to drop it in there. It's like you said, it's a tough throw.
Yeah, I can see what you say. How that's a dual-edged sword there for him.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to do that in the NFL.
No. When that's Cam Chancellor on the other side of the field, you need to learn to get down fast.
Yeah, or a Steelers linebacker.
Right. I believe there's a quarterback in the Washington, D.C. area just down the street that needed to do that a little bit sooner in his career.
Yeah, who could that be?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. I think Kurt is probably secretly liking that to some extent in a guilty sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's looking like Otto Graham there, running around like that.
Yeah, they're just running 19 sweep left and right. That was another bad snap situation, but he got his hands on this one.
Yeah.
That was a nice little throw.
Yeah, you got, and again, it's just, you got a nice drop. He's looking downfield. You see him turn, and it's a nice stand up. Straight, got the feet fairly good, and then a little wide, but
yeah, a little wide there. But that was a nice little concept too, because he had a slot formation. The outside guy runs a 9 route, and the slot guy runs a deep out cut. Comes into that open zone that gets vacated on the outside. So he knows that kind of pre-snap that it looks like they're in either quarters or cover 4. So he knows that that's probably going to be where he's going to go with the football.
Yeah. And you can see how the ball, I mean, I wouldn't say he's got like the greatest arm I've ever seen, but the ball does come off fast.
Yeah, the ball comes off fast. It's got good velocity to it. I mean, it's not Jeff George back there with a, superhuman cannon, but he's got some arm strength.
Yeah.
Again, another nice extension and play fake there.
Yeah, and I love how he's starting to turn downfield here, but yeah, and he certainly handles the pocket much better than Jeff George did.
Yep.
Yeah. But God, what an arm!
Could throw it through a wall.
Yeah, or just from crazy angles too.
Yeah. There's another example, again, that off coverage, one step, get him the football.
Yeah.
And there, too, the ball placement is good, so it gets the guy in position to catch it, turn upfield, and make a move. He makes the first defender miss. 2nd and 7 becomes 1st and 10.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Nice drop, gather, and throw.
It's very decisive. You can just see how hard the plan is and the head turn at that plant.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. 5, and it's just boom.
Yeah. 3 right feet, turn and fire.
And there's some traffic there. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's not a clean pocket. He's got pressure in his face, but he doesn't come off base or anything. It's like he was in the backyard.
Got a little Roger Staubach fun going on there.
Now they're just like, oh, let's just let him run
it. Yep.
Really wants to make a throw here. I mean, he really wants to make a throw there. And what's, interesting, we're kind of almost losing track of it now. We're getting here, there's 2 minutes and 43 seconds left in this game. I mean, they've got a 2-point lead now, and you kind of wonder, they're just, according to ESPN, just outside field goal range here.
Yeah.
So you start to wonder, is it really worth it at this point to take so long to try to make a throw when
you're outside the hash? Just throw it away.
Yep. So the guy has to make a little bit longer of a field goal attempt. Just throw it away in that scenario.
And the ball, he loses the ball temporarily on this one.
Yeah.
I think. I might be wrong, but I thought I saw it bounce.
Yeah, now you see they're down 4 and minute 33 left in the season.
Wow.
But that's a nice way to start.
But that's the thing you want to see is can you play through mistakes? Because the NFL, everyone goes, on the one hand, we always talk about how narrow the margin for error is in the NFL, and it is. But at the same token, everyone screws up in the NFL, and everyone has bad plays, and it's about being able to just play through them.
Right. I mean, Brady threw 2 interceptions in the last Super Bowl 49 here, and played right fine down the stretch. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes, but it's how you come back from it. Again, it talks to that competitive toughness that we've seen in him, not just in run with the football, but bouncing back from making mistakes. Sometimes it wasn't there, but on this play, certainly. Woo.
Yeah, it's a pretty throw.
Yeah.
And from the pocket too, just I mean, feeling that pressure and still just kind of coming back to the next side and sliding the little incremental steps. Boom.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nice. And it's a nice little design too, because you had that underneath curl option route, which occupies the defenders in the middle of the field, and it opens up that deeper post route. You'll see that middle of the field. He converges on that route.
And once he sees that back turn.
Yep. Turn and fire. Nice. That's the true freshman receiver too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice play by him.
Yep.
And look at that. That's nice too. That's an underrated play because he's looking to the deeper play.
Yeah, he wants the deeper route there too, but then
he shows restraint.
Yep.
And that's the time where this is, he may have screwed up not showing restraint earlier, but to show at the most important time when the chips are down, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Yeah. He wanted this one. Just missed it. Yeah. That was his running back leaking out there too. And that right there was a huge play because, he's got 2 guys on him. This could have gone all kinds of bad.
Yeah, like it did earlier in the game.
Yep. And that's also something you want to see. A guy that can, at least it looks like it here, he learns from his mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, and that's wonderful. I mean, again, we talked about guys in the Super Bowl. Well, Russell Wilson, worst game ever, against the Packers.
Right. Comes back, looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And here you get 0 blitz. That you gotta make a play.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a bit of hand checking when we watch the replay, but still. It's 3rd and 10. You're down 4 with under a minute to go.
I didn't see anything. Looking like a true wide receiver. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was from both guys. So, but this is.
They let him play at this stage.
Yep. And you should, But you get bodies flying around, get the ball out. Guy makes a play. And then snap and go. 4-time champions.
Wow. Fantastic. That's just, and that's, to me, we just saw, if this is, I don't want to say consistent, but if we see a little more of this in, over the next year, this is consistent what he did in the playoffs. And I think you can speak to that better than anybody I would know.
Yeah, this is one. He had 2 game-winning drives in the playoffs. He had another one against South Dakota State, where he threw a corner route to that freshman wide receiver we saw just a few moments ago. A game-winning touchdown with a minute to go or so. So, I think that what was good about watching him tonight, especially they start tomorrow. Their season starts tomorrow in 20 hours or so. Is it gives us a baseline, and that's all what we're really doing at this time. It's August. We just want to get a baseline to see how guys, if they develop, if they make some strides over their next season. But I think there's a lot to like with this kid as a quarterback. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, just that the mental toughness, the awareness, in addition to I mean, to me, the footwork, the arm strength, the mobility, all that's there, but that ability to overcome mistakes and to play through it, and the comfort around physical play, and just the smarts to show restraint when you didn't show it before. I mean, that's just. Yeah, that's pro level kind of stuff that you can see how if he continues to work at the game, that those things will continue to show up.
Right. And it goes to, and you've written about this very eloquently, about the emotional side of the game. And it's easy to lose sight of the fact that these are 20, 21-year-old kids we're talking about playing a very emotional sport, a sport that's all about kind of imposing your will on the guy across from you. And stuff happens, things go wrong. You get in quicksand and you try to fight back against it. But, here we got a kid that looks to be competitively tough, that can, rebound from mistakes. And that's what you need as a quarterback. So I think there's physical traits here to like, but there's stuff between the ears to like as well.
Absolutely. So when you talk about things as a baseline, what are some things you're hoping to see him improve upon, since you've watched him a good bit?
Right. Well, I mean, I think I always like to see improved decision making. It doesn't matter, what level you're at. Just, processing information, processing courage as well, and knowing the situation and playing good situational football. I mean, we had a play, a couple minutes ago where it was 3rd and 8, and he extends the play too long, doesn't just, throw it away, and puts his team in a worse position. I want to see improvements kind of in that area of the game. Just, always doing what obviously we've seen this is a guy that's going to always, do what he can, extend plays, competitively tough. But situational awareness is an area where I'd like to see some improvement.
Right. I think this next play is the play you're talking about here. Let's look at that again. Yeah, with the 2:45 left, you have the lead.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to do all the heroics if you do this right.
And it's just a situation where you got a 2-point lead. Don't make it harder on your team in this scenario. Let your kicker try to make a kicker.
Yeah, but on the good side, we see him. Later on here.
Yeah.
Show some restraint.
Yeah. And I think that was you could almost say that last drive was a testament to the restraint that he showed. We had the play before that where he wanted that deeper route, but he brought the ball down, threw the shorter route, and turned into a big play for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah.
He wants to hit that deeper curl route.
Let's find it here.
Yeah, it's this one right here. It's either a curl or a post, but yeah, he wanted to hit that, but then pulls it down.
Yeah.
And that's a great example. 1st and 10, gets the ball.
Now he can go for it a little bit if he wants to.
Yeah, and he wanted to here, and just missed it. And and that's a tough play for that's your running back coming out of the backfield. He's not used to running vertical routes there, but it was a good shot to take because it's single coverage, and you just throw it out there, and either he runs under it or it falls incomplete.
Yep, and this was just an appropriate mix of aggression when he needed it and pulling it back when he needed it.
Yeah,
and he's rewarded. I mean, now it's just it's a 5-yard run to score the winning touchdown.
Yeah, and by doing how he handled the start of this drive, it almost forced Illinois State to come with that zero blitz because now their back's against the wall and they've got to try to make a play. And as a quarterback, you want to see the blitz because that opens up favorable matchups on the outside. So what he had done put the pressure on the defense, and anytime an offense changes that pressure scale and puts the pressure on the defense, you've done something right.
That's a great point. Well, Mark, this was an absolute pleasure to have you on.
This was a joy. I loved it.
Good, man. And we're going to definitely have to have you on some more.
Anytime.
Oh, sweet, sweet. So for Mark Schofield, I'm Matt Waldman. We just had a ball watching Carson Wentz, and hopefully we'll get to do this a lot more often. And I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did.
Fantastic.